Welcome, everyone. So it's my pleasure to introduce Cheng Zhang from Cornell. He's an assistant professor at Cornell. And as you can see, he runs a sci-fi lab. And so Cheng's work is really relevant because when we think about wearables, we think about wristwatches, but Cheng really works on every wearable you can imagine. So wristwatches, glasses, earphones, headphones, necklaces, and putting sensors in these. And I think the big scope of his work is really thinking about, when you combine the fact that you can have sensing with all of these different kinds of wearables, plus modern machine learning and artificial intelligence, then you can measure a lot more things, obtain a lot more deeper insights about human behavior. That includes health than you could before. So it's really in the space of wearables plus AI providing insights into behavior. And his work is, very well cited. It's published at all the top venues in computer science and ubiquitous computing and mobile computing. Lots of honors, Impact Award, 10-year Impact Award at UBCOM, for example, Best Paper Awards. And his work, because it's so sort of interesting from a broad public-facing perspective, it's been featured in the popular press quite a bit as well. So with that, let's welcome Cheng. Take it away.
All right. Thank you for having me here. Let me first start sharing my screen. Okay, great. Hi, so I'm Cheng. Thanks for inviting me to share my lab's work on using wearable understand human behaviors. So today, I will talk about what my lab have been working on in the past couple years, mostly on building AI-powered wearables to understand everyday human behaviors. So right now, if you talk about AI basically everywhere, and people are always amazed by what AI have becoming really good at, right? So if you look at AI, people talk about AI to understand text, right? So we might use ChatGPT frequently to understand our text. AI also be very good understanding our speech, or use speech interface, which is great. On top of text-to-speech, AI also become very good in the past couple of years on understand images. Like autonomous driving already use camera and image recognition to help the car to drive. So AI have made so much progress on understanding your text, your speech, and images. But have you ever thought about why? Why AI was able to make such a progress? So one key reason is actually the data. The algorithms of neural networks were invented like decades ago, but what it really changed is the huge amount of data that because of the advancement of data capturing, data transmission, data storage, the barrier of saving and capture data is much lower, so that you have huge amount of data on your text, on your images, and on the text, so that the machine learning algorithm or AI was able to learn from. That's why AI was able to make such progress, understand your text, speech, and images. In contrast, AI is still quite limited on understanding human behaviors in everyday activities. If you think in the past couple of years, how AI have changed the way they understand you. I can give you a few examples, especially relevant on health domains. For example, can AI even understand our basic everyday human activities, such as eating, right? Track your eating is one common step towards healthy eating behavior. At this moment, to track your eating, the user have to manually log their eating behavior, use a pen or smartphone, which is known is unsustainable. And why you have to manually do that? Because AI cannot even understand your basic behavior like eating every day. On health domain, and this is the example I use frequently, is on Parkinson's disease, right? So when you talk Parkinson's disease, one symptom have been overlooked is your facial expression, loss of facial expression, called mask face. To treat the loss of facial expression, the doctor usually need to give patient a medication. But the issue is neither the doctor nor the patient know whether medication works or not, right? So that you can now even give them precise medication to help them cure to actually deal with the loss of facial expression. Why you have to face such a challenge? Because there's no AI technology or no system can help them to quantify or track the change of facial expressions, right? So that's also because we haven't been evolved on this part to support human. Another example I'll give is on accessibility. This example is American Sign Language communication. So, and I work with people in the who are deaf and hard hearing community. We actually have meeting together. To meet with them, we actually need to hire a third-party translator so that we can communicate. So for them to communicate with non-signer is a challenge a lot of times because there's no such AI system can help them to translate their native language, which is American Sign Language, at any time and any location. So that's a challenge. So look at this part, you think, okay, so why AI makes such progress on speech, text, and image, but not human behaviors? Similar reason, because the lack of high quality human behavior data. So here, the high quality human behavior data, what I refer to in my talk, what I call fine-grained body posture data, especially in the wild, in your everyday activities. It's hard to capture this fine-grained body posture data. So what do I mean by fine-grained body posture data, right? So literally, I mean the pose and movement on across your body, any body parts. If you from the head, including your facial movement, facial expression, so that's part of body language and body movements. Your eyes, including your blinking, your gaze patterns. If you move down, including your tongue movement, further move down your body, the neck and head, those are all part of body postures. And if you're moving down the arms, eventually your fingers. So all these parts on your body that moves, like I construct the whole part of your, what I mean, fine-grained body postures, right? And also your legs, right? So why they're important, why those fine-grained body posture are important for understanding humans, because we use those complex body posture, one or combination, to interact with the world. My PhD thesis topic is on interacting using gestures to input on computers. But back then time, later when I finished my PhD, at the time, I think, okay, so I realized gesture to input a computer is not all the gesture we used for, because body posture essentially is, you use body posture not only to input on computers, but also you use them to interact with physical world. When talk, like when you're eating, when you're drinking, everything, every physical task almost require you to perform certain kind of body postures, right? So we use all kind of body postures to communicate with the physical world, input computers, but also communicate yourself. Not only for sign language, but even now, you see I'm giving a talk. I use my facial expression. I use my arm posture to express how excited I am to give a talk here, right? So here, the message I want to show is that the body posture are at the center of on how human interact the entire physical world, including your activity, including humans, including performing physical tasks, right? Therefore, collecting fine-grained body posture data in everyday activities is actually fundamental to understand human behaviors, right? So the research question here is that because like body posture data is such an important thing, can we enable everyday wearable to track and understand those body postures in everyday activities? Here I highlight the words everyday wearables. What do I mean by everyday wearables? The wearable, I mean, it's not we creating a cumbersome new form factor that we ask user to get used to and wear them. We were interested in extending the wearable that you already get familiar with, you're comfortable wear every day, including your glass, your ring, your necklace, your t-shirt, also your smartwatches. Those wearable you already get used to. Can we make them smart without changing their appearance, without lower the kill the battery, making them to understand you? So that's the core topic my lab trying to address. Make everyday wearable smart, but without losing the need of the being everyday wearable, like being small, low power, and nice. So to allow the everyday wearable to track your understand your fine-grained body posture is challenging in the wild because we're talking about environment that's unconstrained. It's not in a lab, right? So in the wild means that if you want to convince a user to wear some wearable in the wild, you have to be minimal obtrusive, right? Not changing appearance. If it looks significantly different, people will be reluctant to wear, which like have right reason to do so. Second part, it had to be low power. if the sensor is very powerful, but kill your battery or smartwatch or smart glass in an hour or even shorter period of time, no one gonna use them because it will kill your battery. Third part is privacy. If you have wearable that on you, but because it keep understand you, but if it's very privacy hungry, and that can raise a lot of concern about the user, but also the people surrounding user. So when I was actually probably 10 years ago, when I was wearing Google Glass like 10 years every day for 1 year, the most popular question or common question I've been asked for is people ask me, "Are you recording me?" And that's a serious question people asking because people are concerned. So if you want to have wearable that can continuously understand someone, privacy is the center of the problem you have to consider, right? So while satisfying being small, low power, and privacy sensitive, you have to be able to capture all kinds of body posture and understand them very well with high resolution. So that's why this is a tough research question because there's so many requirements if you really think about deploying them in the wild. So how my lab addresses the problem is first, my lab trying to build a wearable sensing platform that can track all kinds of body posture, all the body posture I mentioned earlier. Okay, that's step one. Step two is, okay, if we have wearable sensing platform can track those body postures, and how can we use them to advance AI and computers' ability to understand human behaviors in everyday settings? So that's a talk, two part. A first part I'll talk about the sensing platform. Second part, we'll talk about how we can understand human behavior better in the wild with our system. So imagine the world if your wearable can understand you very well. The example I gave you, a wearable smartwatch or glass can automatically understand and log your eating behavior, when you're eating, how you're eating, what you're eating. I have some examples to show later that we already achieved that. And for people with Parkinson's disease, you don't have to guess whether medication work or not. You have the detailed, quantified, justified data to understand how the medication helps you on the recovery process. You can get very precise medication. And for people who need sign language, they can simply wear a very simple wearable. They can communicate with non-signer using ASL at any time, any location. So imagine if a wearable can understand you really well, those applications will be addressed. So, okay, so what's new in my approach? What is a new method in my approach? Because there are so many sensing methods that have been invented to understand human behavior, to track about posture. So what's new on my approach to addressing this problem? So new approach, I'm addressing this problem I called ecocentric wireless sensing on everyday wearables. So first, what is wireless sensing? Wireless sensing, you can imagine that so like people using like say Wi-Fi signals, right? There's Wi-Fi signal in your room, then based on how your body reflect Wi-Fi signal, they can understand your behavior. So the wireless sensing usually is known to have a transmitter sending signal and a receiver to capture reflect signal. Usually, the transmitter and receiver both in the room, in the environment, is far away from human, right? So what if you put the transmitter and receiver on the body, right? So imagine the transmitter is on the body and receiver also on the body. In that case, you can actually capture information on the body in a much higher resolution and signal noise ratio and without get a lot of interferences nearby. And also in the meantime, you can have one position instrumentation to track a lot of information across body because the wireless signals. So that's a core method which I'm trying to talk today. I will give you more details later. So in today's talk, I will talk three sections. The first section, I'll talk briefly about how we do the ecocentric optical sensing, basically using ecocentric camera on wearable to track body posture. The second part, I will talk about using ecocentric active acoustic sensing on wearable to track body posture. And the last part, I will talk about if we can track body postures, what application we can use actually to understand human behaviors in everyday scenarios. So start with first one. The first section will go a bit fast, just show you it's not focus of today's talk. So the first part talk about is using basically egocentric camera on wearable to understand about postures. Traditionally, when you use camera to capture your behavior, the requirement is the camera had to see the entire body or entire face to track your body posture or track your facial expression or understand you. But it's hard to do it on wearable because wearable is on your body. It's impossible, almost impossible to always capture the full body information. But here, what we do is your occlusion is my information. That means that how your body are occluded already contains information about your body posture, including facial expression, arm posture, finger posture, etc. So this one will show you how we actually, just by placing camera on the body, take a picture of the contour of different parts of your neck, of your wrist. We can infer detailed body posture information from contour of your body. The first work is finger track. We build a wristband, and the wristband just taking picture of the contour of the wrist. We're able to track entire hand posture, including the finger joint position. I think it's 25 finger joint position with high resolution. This is a demo we have. The bottom left, you see that's actually the picture we took of the contour of the wrist. But just look at the contour of the wrist, we're able to infer the entire hand posture because whatever hand posture you're doing, you'll change the shape of contour. So by linking the shape of contour to the detailed finger joint position, using AI, we were able to infer all the detailed finger joint position. Just look at contour of the wrist. So that's the first work. We can infer the hand posture by looking at contour of the wrist, which is much easier to capture. And then if you apply the same idea on the earphone, by looking at the contour of of your jaw, we can infer your entire facial expressions, right, including your mouth and cheek and eyes and blinking all together. Because when you're doing different facial expression, you will stretch your entire face, so the shape of contour on the side will change and deform. By just learning that part, we can capture entire facial expression. Then this work was conducted during pandemic. You can see that because we do not need to see your entire face, but look at the contour of face on the side. We can even capture your facial expression while you're wearing a face mask because we don't need to see your mouth. We just need to see contour part. So we can even track your facial expression while you're wearing a mask. So that was cool. And then if you keep applying the similar idea on a necklace, by simply looking on from necklace, looking how the neck and face area, this part, the contour of the neck, we can infer entire facial expression, and not only facial expression, but also your head rotation as well. This system works even when you're walking, just by looking at how this area, your neck area deforms and control. We can even understand, your facial expression and your head rotation as well. And the last part, apply same idea. If you put a camera on the wristband, and by looking at the contour of the body, we can even infer your entire body posture, including your posture information on your arms, on your limbs, on your torso and head, with about 6.9 centimeter accuracy in a control lab study with a single wristband. Imagine a wristband can track everything in our body. And so this is the idea, the first part I want to talk about. You can see that by looking at ecocentric images captured on wearables, we're able to track all kinds of body postures. But can they be used for tracking body posture in the wild? Let's review the requirement we talked earlier. Are they minimally obtrusive? So maybe because some camera is pretty big, but some of them can be small. So maybe it can be minimally obtrusive. And power was a big issue for many cameras because camera, if you continuously running many camera, can kill your battery. But there are some of the latest work, the camera battery consumption can be lower. So the answer is maybe. But another big concern, if you ever wear a camera here, so as my experience at Google Glass daily wearer, you will get people concerned about are you recording them? Privacy is still a big issue if you have camera pointing towards people and keep recording. And that's a big issue, right? So, and how can we address that? So that's what will be the next part of work, which we're trying to do ecocentric active acoustic thing on wearables, replace with the camera. Don't use the camera, but we can understand the facial expression and body posture really well. So this set of work, we called it like ecocentric active acoustic sensing. So what happened is we use speaker microphone, the normal speaker microphone, which already exists on your smartphone, on your like earphone. It's similar thing. And then we repurpose them. We use the speaker to send inaudible acoustic waves surrounding your body. right? Imagine wherever you go, there's acoustic aura cover your body, right? And then in the same time, when your body move, making different body posture, if you move different facial expression, your skin will deforms. If you move your arms, your arm will deform and will change position. All this deformation on body part, on skin deformation, will reflect the acoustic waves with unique patterns. And the reflect wave will go back to the same wearable and with the microphone. Once we capture the reflect waves, and we can use AI to understand them so that we can understand exactly your body posture and your activities. So that's the whole idea about this part. Basically, we generate acoustic aura surrounding your body. And then your body movement and what activity you're doing will reflect the acoustic wave with unique patterns. And then we can decode the reflected waves and understand your body posture and understand what you're doing. So let's first talk briefly about the technical details. I won't talk too much details, but it gave you just enough to get a sense of how the system works. So what are the egocentric active acoustic sensing? So let's take smart glass as the example. Imagine the smart glass here have a speaker and microphone on the hinge of the smart glass. One speaker, one microphone on the hinge, right? Imagine that case. The speaker was sending acoustic wave, inaudible acoustic wave downwards, from your head downward to cover body, cover leg. Okay, that's a encoded acoustic wave. And then depending on body movement, this acoustic wave will be reflected by your body with unique patterns, which are captured by the microphone on the same device, right? You capture the device, capture the reflect wave on the same device. And once we get reflected acoustic wave, what it will do next? It will do some processing. I'll skip the technical details, but then eventually we'll get something called echo frame. Echo frame represent at that moment where are the objects are located. Basically, you can think about it's a holistic view about at this moment where are the objects are in terms of one-way travel distance. So you can get okay at this moment at 10 centimeter, 1 centimeter, where are the reflection, how strong they are. So that one moment, right? So and then what happened next if you stack the echo frame by time, so you construct a time series of like reflection profile around your body, right? So that's what we call the echo profile. So echo profile essentially will represent where sensor reflecting the acoustic waves and in a time domain. And in this case, the echo profile have very good information about your body posture and your movement and your facial and all kind of information around you. So the echo profile is center of what we're doing. So the echo profile here, to help you understand echo profile, I will explain a bit more. So echo profile here, the y-axis, imagine this is on the glass, right? Using glass as an example, y-axis is the unit is centimeter. It represents the one-way travel distance of the acoustic wave from the glass to other part body, right? So this is an example on the glass. So if the travel distance is 17 centimeters, that means the acoustic wave are reflected or bouncing back at 17 centimeters. And that's the y-axis. The x-axis is the time. So basically the time domain. How can we easily understand echo profile and with more intuition here? So this is a glass example. If you reflect this reflection, map this to human body, you can see that if you look at reflection under around 15 centimeter, that's cover reflection on your face, right? So that's what can cause by your facial expression, anything on your face that reflect that waves. And if you're looking at the reflection a bit further down the body, from like 17 to 60, that's upper body. If you look at the echoes that bouncing back down that area, you can actually decode information about the upper body movements. Similarly, if you go further away, you can looking for the information on lower body, right? So what I'm showing here is that by using one pair of speaker microphone on the glass, you can capture information on different part of the body, including your face, including your upper body, even lower body, so that you can have one sensor to track everything, which I will give you different example how it can be achieved. Okay, so that's echo profile, and then sometimes echo profile because it's there are other objects in the environment also non-moving, also will reflect the echoes. So another thing we do a lot of times, we subtract the agent echo frames. So when you subtract them, the thing doesn't change, will be removed. Like the object doesn't change, will be removed. So we'll get a differential echo profile, similar to the optical flow in the computer vision. This is what we call acoustic flow. You can see here, the acoustic flow here will show is actually your arm moving towards your mouse and moving down. You can see actually the arm, where the arm is, and when moving close to the mouse, the distance actually getting close to the face area and moving away. You can clearly visualize that apart from this data, right? So, okay. And then once we have the echo profile, differential echo profile, the next step is it's hard to really using a system method to decode them on what activity you're doing or what facial expression you're doing. So we're actually using advantage of AI. So we use AI to help us to find the mapping between the complex and the reflect echo profiles. Complex have a lot of multi-pass information, so many information. We use AI to help us find the mapping between the reflected waves and output different kind of information. What about the posture you are, what activity you're doing. So that's overview of what my lab is doing. And then the next question is, okay, now you show me the techniques. What are the body posture you can really track using this active acoustic sensing? So let's start with something easy, coarse body movements, something you have large body movement like upper body pose. Upper body pose is interesting and easier because you use upper body move a lot of times. It's a major part you use to conduct physical activities, express yourself. And also the movement scale is relatively large, right? Your arm move here, the movement distance is like tens of centimeters. So and also your arm is relatively large. Well, it's easier to reflect acoustic waves. So let's start with something simple like upper body pose. That's our first work, pose sonic. So this work, we put the speaker microphone on the glasses. And then by looking at, that's a speaker microphone. And by looking at a reflected wave, we can easily capture your upper body pose with around 6 centimeter accuracy. And the system, the performance report, it does not need training data actually from new user. It works across different users. And we just use two pair microphone and speaker on each side of the glasses. So with this part, you can track pretty well on upper body pose. That is cool, but the question, can active cool sensing track more subtle body poses beyond just upper body pose? Because upper body pose kind of low hang fruit and very straightforward, very easy. The answer is yes, because acoustic sensing has much higher resolution than centimeter. They can do millimeter level resolution. Therefore, it allows to track much complex things and subtle things. So when we look at if you look at this echo profile mapping with human body movements, right? So far, the first step, we have tried looking at reflection in this area, in upper body region, and then we can actually get your arm posture or upper body movements. Then next step, how about we're looking for the reflection in the under 15 centimeter, cover your face area. Can we learn more information about your face, including your facial expression, your eyes, your gaze, your tongue movement, everything happening in your face? Can we just understand your facial expression and all the detailed information by looking at reflection in this short range? The answer is yes. So we actually, my lab have done different works and show that by looking at a reflection in this area, we can track your facial expression. We can even track your gaze from those reflections. This is the first work we did on this track. So this work called AirL, you can see we have earphone and we have speaker microphone behind the ear. The speaker is generating acoustic waves actually towards this part of cheek, right? This is part of face. And because when you do different facial expression, this part skin will stretch on 3D dimension. And then our acoustic sensing can capture subtle skin deformation in this area. And based on how this deform on this area, we can infer entire facial expression, including your mouth, your eyes, your cheeks, everything, just by looking at the 3D skin deformation on this area. So this is really cool because it shows that, okay, yeah, the skin deformation itself has enough information to help it decode entire facial expression. It works very well. And the power signature is as low as 10 milliwatts for the sensors. And we can have 87 hertz fresh rate to get this information. It works well. However, have limitations. The first limitation is we have limited performance tracking subtle eye blinking. For the system, if you close your eyes, it works. But if you really just blink your eyes really quick, we can now track that well because if you put your finger on this area, you can feel like if you close your eyes, skin deformation very apparent. But if you just blink, it's too subtle to track. So that's one issue. The second issue, the performance you saw earlier, require extensive training data from new user, like 16 to 30 minutes, which is fine for lab study, but if you want to deploy them, it's still quite long. So the question, can we address them? Can we actually track very well on eyes and also reduce the training data? This is our next project. This is on glass. So we put a speaker microphone on the hinge and looking at reflection on the cheek area, skin deformation. And then you can see we can track facial expression, but also the blinking. You can notice the blinking here, right? You can see we can track very well on your blinking as well, just by looking at skin deformation on the cheek area. It works also in the wild when you're actually walking. The neat part of this thing is actually we can also further reduce training data, which I'll talk the next part. Oh, another thing I want to show you here. Okay, so all the demo we show here is live demo. The system is deployed on the smartphone and running real-time rendering. So as you saw here. Compared to the first project, this one, we have better performance. We can track your facial expression better. We can track your blinking better. And we reduce the training data by 88%. We can now just need 4 minutes training data from new user to get it working. And we can track it blinking. However, the question now is, okay, there's more than just blinking on your eyes area. Can we track more than blinking? So, and then our next project, which we're trying to even using this idea to track your gaze, right? So if you have acoustic wave around your eyeball area, we can even track your gaze with around 2 degrees of accuracy and tracking. So here you can see the blue dot is our prediction and red dot is a ground truth. You can see we can track them pretty well. And how it works essentially is because your eyeball is not completely round shape. Therefore, when your eyeball moving to different directions, the shape of this area will be different. And because the shape are different, then we can use an acoustic wave to monitor or actually modeling the shape of this area to infer which direction you're looking at, right? So that's our latest MobiCom paper, which we'll hopefully present in November. So far, I have shown you how we can use active acoustic sensing to track, arm posture, facial expression, gaze, etc. But most of the form factor so far is all on the head, right? It's on glass or earphone. But can we track even more than more body posture and on other everyday wearables? Yes. So if you look at other wearable beyond your head, on earphone, on the smart glasses, there are things you also wear every day, like a ring or a wristband. So if we deploy this active acoustic sensing on the ring or wristband, we can make them smart as well, understand other body posture like hands and fingers. So this work is accurate. What we do is if you deploy the microphone speaker on this wrist area, and we can actually capture the shape of this wrist with acoustic waves. And based on this part, we can modeling or inferring entire hand posture continuously. And beyond hand posture, we can also track what object you're interacting with because acoustic wave will be bouncing back not only by hands, but also by the object holding your hands. So we can detecting not only hand posture, but also what object you're interacting with just by looking at acoustic waves. And this, you can see, we can detect what object you're holding, the cup, you're holding a pen, and what operation you do. And we can recognize different objects with 97% accuracy. And as we keep working on this acoustic sensing field, our power signature keep going lower and lower. Now the whole system is only around under 60 milliwatts, still high, but we already significantly reduced that part. And that's the wristband. But if you apply the similar idea on the ring, imagine you have a ring. You just need one speaker, one microphone. Serve as a more kind of sonar style thing. You can actually get reflection from other fingers. In that case, with one speaker, one microphone, you can track your entire hand posture with around like 14 millimeter accuracy per joint. The amazing part of this work on the ring is that we have tested the ring can work on any wearing fingers. The system work on any wearing fingers, from thumb to little fingers. And also another nice thing about this system is that the system also can work on any user at this, your study without collecting training data from them. So basically, the new user can come here where it should work really reasonably well. So that's we make smart wristband smarter, and we making the ring smarter understand your interaction contact, your hand postures. So if we step back so far, what I've shown you is we can using the inaudible acoustic waves to surround your body to track all kinds of body posture, from your facial expression, your gaze. We also have work on town tracking. I won't have time to talk more, and all your arms and hand, your finger postures as well. But next question is, okay, are they good enough to be used to or deploy in the wild? Let's review the criteria. First, are they small enough? Are they minimum obtrusive? The answer is yes. The micro speaker are really small, can be really small. So they can be like invisible on your devices potentially. And low power is right now, like the sensor can be under like 5 or 2 milliwatts. The whole system still need 40, 50 milliwatts. But compared to camera, other power hungry sensors, it's already being significantly lower than other sensors, and it can be even more. There's a lot of improvement can be done on power signature side. So it's pretty good. And you can last through a full day with the sensors. And also the sensor we have also is more privacy friendly compared to camera. You keep recording the surrounding environment, right? So, and more importantly, beyond those things, microphone speaker are already existed in the existing device. Almost every single smartphone or wearable devices already have a speaker or microphone, or many of them have both. So technically speaking, you just need to repurpose them to this purpose, and you can make them smart immediately. So the first part to show, okay, you can track so many about posture, but so what, right? That's what I'm gonna show next. Once you can track them, can we actually enable AI to understand human behavior much better in the wild? So this part, I'll talk about different applications we have been working on. I'll start from accessibility, and then we'll talk about everyday active recognition, and then last part we'll talk about some application on health sensing. So start with accessibility. The first thing is a silent speech. What is silent speech interface? So silent speech interface is the technique that understands your speech without using voice. Like if I'm speaking, if I'm now speaking out, the computer can, or AI can understand what I'm saying. Why do you need silent speech? The first part is for average user, a lot of times when you interact with speech interface, you have to talk out aloud. This your leak your privacy and also can be socially awkward a lot of times. If you elaborate in a meeting, that's make the speech interface like not accessible. So for every user, if you can talk to your speech interface silently, you can make the thing more socially appropriate and protect privacy. But more importantly, for people with speech impairments, they have issues on accessing existing speech interface. They even have a challenge on just using speech to communicate with others. So that's why it's important to understand people's speech intention without using their voice. So we have done several work on this. I will talk two today. The first work, echo speech. So this is the glass form factor I used earlier. This time, by looking at how your skin deformed on the face, we can even infer what you're saying, your like speech content, right? With, of course, this limited vocabulary, we can understand your speech continuously. In this case, we show that you can understand speech. This is the demo deploying in real time. What you see here is the recognition in real time. When we say like digits or numbers, you can say the digits like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, any combination at any speed, 8, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. We can decode those information with 5% word error rate and with a relatively low part signature. So we can understand speech silently with a small vocabulary, but work really well. That's a very promising direction. The system is really cool. You can understand speech. And then potentially you have such a smart glass to understand speech when you do this kind of interaction, and you can silently input parameters with your speech interface without have to type in the parameters, etc. Right? So just some example here, and they also have limitation. It work well, but the system require customized hardware, even if the hardware is very cheap, very affordable, but still you need to revise the hardware a little bit on smart glass. The next question, can we actually enable this kind of silent speech interface on the existing smart wearables? This is our next work, right? Our next work, if you have, like everyone probably have a noise canceling headphone. Maybe some of you are already wearing them, noise canceling headphone. The noise canceling headphone or smartphone or smart glass, sorry, earphone already have microphone and speaker inside. So this work we explored, can we actually using the existing speaker microphone on the off-the-shelf device to understand speech silently? The answer is yes. So this way you can see we're using the speaker in the Bose headphone to generate inaudible acoustic waves mixed with your audible music, right? And then based on how you're speaking, this area bone will change the shape and reflect the acoustic wave even unique pattern captured by the microphone as at the off-the-shelf headphone. And then by modeling them, we can understand what they're saying. So this one will show you, you can see when you're speaking, how clear the signal is. On the left side is when you're speaking, the reflected signal. You can see this reflection is super strong and have clear pattern. By just understanding the reflect pattern, we can understand a few very simple commands with high accuracy. In this case, you can potentially immediately turn an off-the-shelf headphone to understand the speech silently. The two work we actually, once published, we get media coverage. We were approached by many patients and their family and patient organization globally who lose their voice, have speech impairment. People talk to us like, can we try your device? Can we use your device? We are willing to drive a couple hours, just come inside help test device. We're really touched and moved by those comments. So now, actually, my students' PhD thesis is actually combined with smart wearable and also generative AI can see whether we can even give the voice back with such a system. So today, for the time limitation, I won't talk too much details, and I'm happy to chat more afterwards. And then next part, I will talk about another application really quick is American Sign Language. We talk American Sign Language a lot. American Sign Language is very complex, finger posture, facial expression, and arms. So, but track them is very hard because when people perform signs, their way of performing have their unique habits, and their way of performing also depends on what words and context. So because we have a ring that can track hand posture, so we actually develop a ring that can understand the finger spelling of in the American Sign Language. What is finger spelling? Finger spelling is when you speak English, when it's a word, you have to spell out W-O-R-D. In American Sign Language, there are a lot of words or their names do not have sign. So the signer had to spell out every single letter, so-called finger spelling. This represents probably 15-20% of American Sign Language. So in this case, we allow the signer to naturally sign as they do. You can see they don't need to stop in the middle. They can sign continuously and naturally as they do. And we can recognize the sign like the finger spelling with around 90% accuracy. And on phrases, we can get under 10% whatever rate. And we evaluate a system with 12 native signers. They're from the community. We do not limit any of their behavior. They sign as naturally as they have. So this paper is currently under review, but this show another direction. If you are able to track your body posture, you can do a lot of things on accessibility as well. Okay, next part, of course, we want to combine different variables to understand science beyond just finger spelling. So then another part I want to talk today is actually understand everyday activities. Can we using this active acoustic sensing understand what you're doing every day? So
we present Act Sonic, a low-power smart.
Okay, so this device, recall that is smart glass. This smart glass, because we showed that can track your facial expression.
Sonic can track 28 different activities in the wild with.
Let me turn off the. Okay, so in this device, you can see we can track over 28 activities. And per second, on the top right corner, this is the prediction label and the probability. The 28 activities, we can track what you're doing per second with around 90% F1 score. And we test the system in the wild with 19 participants, 19 houses. What we do is we give you a device, and then we leave. And we use a camera on your chest to record the ground truth per second, what you're doing. And we test the system in such a way that with as close as in the wild, we can recognize over 90% accuracy in 28 activity, including eating, drinking, including brushing your teeth, playing your phone, you're reading books, etc. And the system works. There are different noise play nearby. It works. So this system show you that the concept I talked earlier, if you're able to capture high quality body posture, like facial expression and upper body pose, and you will be able to change how AI can understand you, right? Okay, so I'll skip this part and how this works. Look at this picture. So on this part, the first video frame is when you feed your food into your mouth. If you look at active profile here, you can see there are signals on both upper body and facial region because you move your arm also through your mouth, right? And then if your next frame, you only move your mouth, there are no arm movements. You can see the reflective pattern only in the short reflection area on the face. Because we're able to capture both arm movement and facial movement all together with one sensor, one device. That's how we can understand human behavior so well with such a simple device. And I'll skip the machine learning part, but basically we use a self-supervised learning to help us to get the system performance user independently without any training data from the user. Beyond this part, the system we have will show you can track 28 activities, but you can even track more detailed information like eating. So the first work will show you can track eating moment, but if you look at more information, you can even track more than eating. You can track your intake content. We can track your chewing time, eating episode. Those are more important biomarkers for eating tracking. And beyond those things, by just using the sensing, scanning your face, you can even authenticate who you are because everyone have different shape of face. By using acoustic wave to scan your face, we can even understand who you are. Okay, the last part, I'll talk about a bit more about the potential application on health domain, which we're already working on. Because the system what we develop can be used to bridge the gap of knowledge on user behavior. Because right now in clinical practice, the doctor have limited information about patient behavior in the wild. So this is an example we're collaborating. The first example is the example I gave you earlier, the Parkinson's disease. When people lose their facial expression, the doctor have no information or idea how the facial expression progress after and before medication or progress per day. So we're collaborating with my colleague in Wearables medicine on using our wearables to track the facial expression changes for Parkinson's disease to study this part. Another part is from we're collaborating with Dr. Rohia from Howard Medical School on facial paralysis. Facial paralysis, people have challenges on nerves so that they have issues on moving their eyes on this area. So we're trying to use our wearable to help them to track the eyelid movement more precise. Because that's an issue. Current solution all using camera, which is, well, it's not sustainable. It's kill the battery very soon. But our system potentially can be used to help them track how your eyelid moves, right, to help them to provide intervention. Another part we're also working on is binge eating, right? It's a very apparent example. So work with my colleague in Cornell Tech and Mount Sinai. We're trying to use our wearable to track people's eating behavior so that we can help people with issue on binge eating to understand their symptoms better. Beyond those things, I want to talk about other future directions very briefly. So one thing is that I talk about a lot of things on acoustic sensing, but in my vision, what we're proposing, the active acoustic sensing in the future, will be working together with other sensing together in in a whole like sensing family. It's not like you only have active acoustic sensing, you have other things like camera. So this example is we combine active acoustic sensing and the camera together on smart glass. So active acoustic sensing, we can track when you're eating, but not what you're eating. The camera, if you use modeling, large language modeling, you can understand by analyzing images, you can understand what you're eating, how you're eating, but will kill your battery and it will be expensive to run. How about we using the cheap sensor, active acoustic sensing, to detect when you're eating and only take a picture when we know when you're eating, and then only analyze that one picture. In that way, you can capture your eating activities throughout the day without killing the battery, without spending money to analyze data, right? So that's a combination between acoustic sensing and also camera. Another thing is also smart clothing. In this way, we'll actually repurpose the seams on your clothes. Seams are the fabric, are the threads that are connecting us, like the different fabric. By changing the seam, the conductor thread, we can make your your shirt smart, understand body pose. So I'll skip this part really quick. And long-term future direction, what I'm really excited about is I think the eco-centric active cool sensing can enable any single wearable to sense high-quality behavior from distance, while they're being low power, minimal intrusive, privacy sensitive, and they already being widely available. So my argument is that the active cool sensing can enable any wearables make them smarter. So in my talk today, I've shown smart glass can be smarter, smart watch can be smarter, smart ring can be smarter, and headphones, right? So they are being smarter. But there are many wearable form factor I haven't shown, but this apply the sensing principle can also make them very smarter as well. So AI pen, imagine you have pen here, there's a new wearable form factor. You can using our sensing modality to understand your activities as well. From this area, your necklace, right? And your earring, if you do this part, you can sense a lot of information from the ear, include facial expression, your body pose, and the shoes as well. So this, I think active sensing can potentially be the fundamental sensor for next generation of wearable because low power, low cost, minimum obtrusive, and widely available. So with this in mind, it's like if you have this kind of active sensing in next generation wearables, it will lower the barrier of collecting human behavior data, right? So everyone can use this device, collect human behavior data of their interest, and we can collect large scale behavior data sets. And what really excites me is we have LLM, like ChatGPT, for understanding your text and images. But can we have something like behavior LLM that everyone can use to understand their behavior much easier by input data? So once we have large behavior data set, we can probably have something for AI to help you understand your human behaviors. Okay, so last part is what I'm excited about: application, health, accessibility, active recognition. For time's sake, I will skip this part. My research interest is to develop wearable, a small, low power, privacy aware, which we can use to understand and you predict human behaviors. But well, I want to highlight one thing. The goal of track your behavior is not to track you. That sounds scary, but the goal is to provide support to users when needed. That's the goal, to provide application to support users. Okay, so I cannot done this work without my wonderful mentors and my PhD student and collaborators. I work with a lot of master's students and a lot of undergrads in my lab. So I want to acknowledge them here. And thank you. I'm happy to take questions.
All right. Thank you, Cheng, for a great talk. So we have a few minutes for questions if people have questions, or put them in chat. Does anybody want to go? While we wait, maybe I'll ask you a question. So I am curious. You know, I think there's sort of, you measure a lot of different things with audio.
Yep.
I'm curious what the next frontier is in terms of, is it resolution? Is it application? So, you know, is it the, I mean, you showed the 1 centimeter, 1.5 centimeter resolution. Like, where do you think the next big jump is?
Yeah, great question. So what my lab is trying to do, we're trying to moving on both fronts. So one side, we're trying to improve the resolution. So right now, resolution, like detecting the movement, current sensing is actually around 3 millimeter, but we can definitely improve that by upgrading the hardware. So that's one way. And once you improve the hardware, you potentially can immediately improve the performance on tracking like gaze and things. That's one way we're trying to improve. The other part is really about actually application domain. So we're trying to show that what our application we can do, especially we want to show that how it can work in the wild, so that our goal is that in the future, if any researcher want to capture activity, they don't need to build a model by themselves. They don't need to collect data by themselves. They can directly using our hardware, using the model we actually released, people can immediately just try out. They can track the behavior they want to do. That's a goal. We're trying to make sure the system we build can apply on different applications, and also people can directly use without, like, this is a barrier to understanding behavior. Everyone want behavior, you have to track, build your own devices. But in the future, the goal is you have you can easily get a hardware, you can use a model, you don't need to build a model, you can immediately use them. That's what my lab is trying to move forward on.
Great. We have a couple of questions in chat, and I'll pose them one by one. So maybe I'll take the application question first. Sirkan asks, one problem I'm trying to find out with kidney patients is to find out the volume of liquid they're drinking. Do you think the volume of liquid can be tracked?
Yes, I think it's possible. And that's something we're interested because of like how much liquid they're drinking. We can track their drinking behavior, right? This posture. And then we can actually based on how much we can track your movement, how much you swallow water. We can based on those information potentially to estimate how much water you drink. I think that's possible, definitely. But we haven't done that, but I think definitely feasible because we have the information on your face, on your arms, and understand the context. So potentially we can estimate how much liquid they're drinking.
Yeah. Another question very relevant to this, the topic here is facial expressions with aging populations. Do you think that there will be a significant difference in terms of whatever the accuracy? And also, I think the point is that Fiona says, people may not show obvious facial expressions all the time. So how subtle can the measurements be? And that gets to fidelity.
Yeah, good question. I do agree that people, even with PD patients, they may have different pattern on skin information with different facial expression. But I think because like the thing is very intuitive. If you put your skin here, if you do things really subtle, you can still feel the deformation on the skin, just like how we can track your blinking from this area. I do think even they have small facial expression, if you can see that, our sensor can detect them. That's no problem. But we may have to train a separate model or collect enough training data for that group of patients so that the model can be generalizable to them. That's another challenge for sure. But we need to explore more.
Okay, and let's see, there's a few people who've asked one person who's asked for an email. Medication adherence is an application. And also, I think I don't know if you highlighted, what's the difference between this and millimeter wave, which can also be very, if you consider millimeter wave instead of audio, is there a quantitative difference between the two?
So that's a great question. So I think what work on our system potentially can also work on millimeter wave. They're both physical wave, right? So they both reflect it. I think in that degree, millimeter wave can also works. And the reason then why we choose to work with acoustic wave instead of millimeter wave. The reason we choose this one, and particularly we choose the acoustic frequency under 20 gigahertz, because we're trying to make things that are compatible with existing wearables. So because the existing wearable already have microphone speaker, and the microphone speaker supporting the frequency under 20 gigahertz. So if we stay with this area, whatever we do can be potentially easier to adopt it in the real world wearable devices. But technically speaking, if you have millimeter wave, I think a lot of things we show here can also work because it's just physical wave bouncing back from body. Sometimes may even work better because it may have high resolution. But why we choose the acoustic wave? Because we're thinking about deploying the wild, how compatible they are, how small they are, how low the battery consumption is, energy consumption is.
Excellent. So we're at time. So I want to really thank you, Cheng. Great talk and great set of questions as well. Thank you, folks, and we'll see you at the next webinar. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.